Oh, bol cuma tahu dengan itu mam. Oh, gua nggak usah nih lanangan itu mam. Nimbula, ayaw Mr. Ben.
Ella ba?
Na magkikiro manolo kinedyo na bima taka monisi kinafangarumbuka.
Ena Bula FM, number 2 and selling.
Tonight, fire destroys school. Disturbing figures released on cervical cancer. And Consumer Council pushes for more skilled mediators. Bulavanaka, I'm Jackie Spate and you're watching FBC News. An early morning blaze destroyed part of Singatoka Methodist Primary School today. Classes were cancelled and students sent home as authorities investigate the cause of the fire. Eleanor Tarangai view with the story.
Firefighters received the emergency call at 12:30 this morning. When they arrived at the scene, it was fully engulfed in flames.
I think because of the age of the building and it being just freshly repainted, and because of the fire load in the building's wooden floor and the tables and books, the fire really spread quickly.
Strong winds didn't help the situation. However, firefighters did manage to stop the blaze from spreading to other classrooms.
Based on the assessment of the team in the ground, the priority was to make sure they did not spread to the other also wooden buildings that were very close by to the building that was on fire. So the team, but both the trucks in Singatoka were utilized and the team from Singatoka. They fought the fire and brought it under control around about 3 a.m. in the morning.
12 classrooms and a teacher's residence were destroyed in the fire.
When I went in the morning and see what happened, I could only see ashes lying down there. There's nothing else. I see some people stopping by while passing in their car. I can see some of the school kids, they're standing out there. There's nothing we can do and help them right now.
School management were to have a meeting with the Education Ministry this afternoon to decide what steps to take to minimize disruptions to classes. No outcome was forthcoming when this bulletin was prepared and classes remain cancelled for tomorrow. Eleanor Tarangai view, FBC News.
Meanwhile, the Aria Fraternity Sabah Fiji was the first to step forward to help the school. The organization donated $1,000 this morning to help in the rebuilding of the classrooms. The government is looking for a supervisor of elections in the lead up to the 2014 elections. The vacancy has been advertised locally as well as distributed through diplomatic channels overseas. The minister responsible for elections, Aisaid Qayyum, says the government is particularly encouraging applications from elections overseas experts. He says it's very important that the position is filled by someone with the necessary skills and expertise who can build capacity in the elections office and who can ensure that Fiji's national elections are conducted in a fair, transparent and credible manner. Applications close on 25th October 2013. Every year, more than 100 women die due to cervical cancer in Fiji, making it the primary cancer killer among women here. This has prompted organizations like the Sai Health Centre in VCC Lautoka to go all out in its awareness programs for women. Epeli Tukuasa reports.
According to the VCC Sai Health Centre, victims of the cervical cancer are becoming younger every year. Last year alone, around 200 women died from the disease, with the youngest in her 20s.
Unfortunately, it is diagnosed very late in our women because it is one of those cancers that you cannot detect early unless you go and have pap smears. But we do have a problem in Fiji. We have one of the highest rates in the Pacific for cervical cancer deaths in Fiji.
The alarming rate of deaths from the killer disease has prompted the Sai Health Centre to create awareness, especially targeting those in rural areas.
We are doing is going to the rural areas of Lautoka, Ba and Nandi, and we will visiting villages, and we're also going to settlements We're working in conjunction with the Western branch of the Cancer Society, and they have a truck which we take, and the clinic is actually held in that.
The awareness program is funded by the European Union and aimed at reducing the number of women in Fiji who die every year from cervical cancer. Epili Tukuasa, FBC News.
Prime Minister Vorengem Bainimarama will take part in the 68th session of the United Nations General Assembly this week. Bainimarama says he has got a good story to tell the leaders present there about the progress Fiji has made so far.
I don't get any trouble when I go to the UN. In fact, the opposite. People come up to me and say, good on you. A lot of other countries understand and appreciate what Fiji is trying to do, and why wouldn't they? You know, turning a racially based voting system that discriminated against a lot of people into a genuine democracy is a noble thing. They also appreciate our contribution to UN peacekeeping.
Bainimarama told New Zealand-based Radio Tarana that the international community has welcomed the 2013 Constitution, saying it is the way forward. The General Assembly opens in New York on Wednesday. Fiji requires more expertise to solve consumer complaints through mediation. With this in mind, the Consumer Council of Fiji is holding a 4-day workshop on managing conflicts and resolving disputes through mediation. Shireen Lata reports.
Statistics released by the Consumer Council of Fiji show mediation to be one of the most effective methods of solving disputes between disgruntled consumers and retailers. In the last 5 years, the Council recorded $16.3 million worth of complaints, out of which $6.7 million worth was solved only through mediation.
The complaints that get lodged at the Council, 63% of the cases we are able to solve through mediation. But we would like to ensure that this percentage increases. We would like to see something like 80 to 90% of the cases being solved through mediation.
Premila Kumar says mediation is a much easier and cheaper way of solving disputes instead of going to court. Even the Commerce Commission has a special mediation unit, but the lack of skilled mediators remains a concern.
There's certain posturing, certain conduct of the mediator and the two parties that is a complete no-no when you are taking mediation. For example, you don't want to engage in point scoring exercise. You don't want to start with saying that you have really robbed or you have defrauded, etc. The moment you start using those terminologies, then you really push someone outside outside engaging into a meaningful mediation.
Mediation is the best bet for consumers to have their complaints resolved in a more efficient and cost-effective manner. And the workshop organized by the Consumer Council of Fiji, together with the Commerce Commission and the Judicial Department, hopes to shed more light on the need for skilled mediators in the country. Shatin Lata, FBC News.
Just ahead, local farmers challenge to supply hotels and resorts.
Isambol binaka, nadang gawa di soni nalay, nama kyo mani wasin ngono borota kina lali ne kabi, may natolo kina bitu, ena moni di kina porombuka, ena Bula FM, na bandu ena serre.
Bula, I'm Wame. Join me every weekday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on The Center Show with classic hits from the 70s as well as the 80s right here on Gold FM.
Welcome back. You're watching FBC News. Mobile giant Digicel Fiji says although it has acquired the 4th generation network spectrum, or 4G, it will be very expensive for the end user. Chanel Sivan with the story.
Commercial Director for Digicel, Andrew Skelton, says they've successfully acquired a 4G network. He says the major drawback in launching this network will be the availability of compatible devices.
I think the big thing about 4G services in Fiji, which was the same issue for 3G, is the fact that at the moment there are very few devices in the market that are 4G capable, and that situation probably isn't going to change in the short to medium term.
The new 4G technology will allow compatible mobile devices high-speed access to the internet, including fast downloads, streaming, browsing and video calling. Digicel Fiji is at the network planning stages where they are studying how people will use the network before deploying it.
If we all had 100% 4G coverage today. Everyone, 100%. A small number of people would be able to access it because of the handsets. Okay, and the handset costs and the prices and things like that. You know, the big handbrake, the big barrier to 4G services at the moment remains the handsets.
Skelton says an average 4G handset would cost around $1,000. However, he does believe that as Fiji progresses, people will be able to afford such devices. Chanel Shivan, FBC News.
Senior officers of the Fiji Police Force, the Fiji Correction Services and the RFMF are engaged in a two-day leadership seminar. Coordinated by the John C. Maxwell Institute in the United States, participants are being shown how to be good leaders. Apisalome Doka reports.
Fiji's security forces were today reminded of how to embrace the importance of leadership roles.
That leaders are special people. They're individuals who have special abilities or giftings, and they're just a separate class of people, shall we say, that we look at that have this special ability.
Pastor Jones says there are certain people who are born to be leaders, but he adds leaders can also emerge when they're needed most.
You may look around and say there's others who can do it, but you are the only person who can do it in a specific situation. Because you are the one that has the vision for it. You are the one that has the ability. You have the opportunity to do it.
Today's session has been hailed by the Fiji Police Force.
Through this, we can create and nurture some commonalities in our understanding about leadership between the three forces. Commonalities in understanding the ideologies, the principles of leadership.
The two-day leadership seminar ends tomorrow. Apisalome Doka, FBC News.
The Fiji Independent Commission Against Corruption today filed its closing submissions in the case against former FMPF Deputy General Manager Foana Nemani. FICAC lawyer Rashmi Aslam told the court this was a simple and straightforward case, as they have produced 8 witnesses and 23 documents proving that Nemani is guilty. Foana Nemani is charged with extortion by a public officer and abuse of authority involving more than $38,000. She has absconded voluntarily from court and chose not to exercise her right to be present and not to be legally represented. She left for New Zealand without the leave of the court. Disputes over chiefly titles will soon be a thing of the past under the new constitution. The Tauke ministry says the document encourages resolution of traditional disputes through dialogue and traditional protocols.
Disputes over chiefly titles have affected relationships in the past. The constitution protects the existing traditional and cultural practices as well as the functions of the Native Lands Commission, which deals with chiefly disputes.
It has given some solid undertaking or some solid platform on the recognition of the Tauke, Banaban and Rutuman culture.
Kaunisela describes the entrenched provision as very good for the well-being of the Tauke community.
Most importantly is for the Fijian people or the Tauke people to sit down and discuss amongst themselves properly in the Tauke manner how to resolve their issues without ending in court or to another third party to deal with it.
He adds the new constitution also promotes the protection and traditional artifacts, culture, language and art and craft.
More or less supports and strengthens the work that we are doing now to actually preserve the culture of the Tauke, the Rotumans and the Banabans.
The Tauke Affairs Ministry is closely studying the constitution to better understand it. Mikolonga, FBC News.
And Jamie joins us now for the beginning of another week of sports. And what does the new week bring us?
Jackie, good evening. Tonight in sports, overseas-based Fiji Mbati squad members arrived this morning ready for Thursday's Battle of the Mbati, and Touch Rugby Association prepared to host Trans-Pacific Tournament. Details on these stories and more coming up after the break.
How would you like to spend your morning? You could spend your morning like this, Or you could spend it like this.
Tune in to the Morning Ride every weekday morning from 9 a.m. till 12 p.m. right here on Today FM, Today's Hit Music.
नमस्ते दोस्तों, मिर्ची रफ्तार से मैं अश्निल सिंह। शामिल हो जाइए हमारे साथ मंडे टू फ्राइडे फ्रॉम 3 to 7 p.m.
Welcome back to FBC Sports. The 17 Australia and New Zealand-based Vodafone Fiji Mbati squad members have reached our shores to prepare for Thursday's Battle of the Mbati. Hype is building towards the trials at the ANZ Stadium, and as Elena McDonald reports, once top NRL stars confirm their availability for the World Cup in England, only a few spots remain which the Fiji residents and current visitors will be fighting for.
Arriving earlier today and already ready for battle come Thursday. Just like the Fiji residents, 3 reps are part of this group which featured for the Fiji Bati at the last World Cup. Despite already experiencing the international stage, some admit it's going to be tougher to make the final cut this time.
It's been tough. It's been tough trials back in Australia. Obviously the trials on Thursday were pretty hard too. You know, we've seen the local boys here and the intensity will be good, which is what you want for preparation for the World Cup, so it should be good.
Today's latest squad members are made up of Australia and New Zealand-based players.
Just take one thing at a time. Like first I have to just play on this trial on this day tonight, and then we'll see from there.
But they've all come here today, guaranteeing to stamp their mark in the team.
It'd be a great opportunity to play against the Fijian residents and just test their mettle, see who's tougher and stronger to earn selection in the Fiji Bati World Cup team.
While they take the time to settle in, the Fiji residents carry out final tweaks in their plays. 3 days before the Vodafone Battle of the Bati kicks off, and with now more than 8 spots available for local reps, you can bet it's going to be a cracker of a game on Thursday and a tough time for national selectors. Elena McDonald, FBC Sports.
And you can catch the Battle of the Mbati live only on FBCTV on Thursday evening, starting with a build-up show at 6:30. The Fiji Touch Association is preparing to host the Trans-Pacific Tournament at Prince Charles Park in Nadi this week. The 3-day touch rugby event will feature teams from Fiji, Australia, New Zealand and Samoa. Salinda Dakadaka reports.
Fiji will host 36 teams for this week's Trans-Pacific Touch Tournament. Wrapping up their preparations, our local teams are raring to go and take on the Pacific's best.
I think the anticipation is quite high, especially within the Fiji camp as well. Everybody's looking forward to a once-in-a-while tournament here on home ground.
Apart from exposing local players to regional competition, this event will help uplift the profile of the sport in the country and build towards bigger tournaments.
Months of hard work has finally come to it. This is where we display our sport and we hope that we can grow it. This is a way of growing it. We have 2 tournaments in 2015, which is the World Cup and the Pacific Challenge. And this is only where we can showcase that our sport is desperate to growing and we are keen to making it grow.
Overseas teams are expected to fly in on Wednesday, with the tournament kick-starting on Thursday. Tsalendo Dakadaka, FBC Sports.
No agreements have been reached between Fiji and the world governing body of amateur boxing, the IABA, despite assurances from the Fiji Boxing Commission. Fasanok has submitted a report to the IABA and is awaiting their response. Shalvin Chand reports.
IABA's stand regarding government involvement in sports is clear. India and England have both suffered the consequences, but Fasanok is hopeful of a positive response to a report sent by them.
Awaiting IABA's response to a report that we sent through them, explaining the situation in Fiji. In the meantime, everything goes under the new arrangement. Boxing will take place in Fiji with FABA officials officiating, and we'll see what IABA says.
It's simple. The old amateur body is the only one recognized by IABA, and until that changes, there will be no international bouts.
IABA will want to see that evidence that government is no longer, through the decree, involved in the sport of boxing. That's what they want to see. And they've suspended a number of countries overseas, so they have no problems about
dealing strictly with Fiji if they need to.
The plus so far is the changes done by IABA if Fiji does make it to the next Olympics.
Professional boxers who've boxed for fewer than 15 bouts in the professional category can join boxing and can represent Fiji in the Olympics.
Under the new arrangements have already started, and there are many boxers who are hoping to get an Olympic sport. So he is hoping that IABA does come through for Fiji. Shelvin Chan, FBC Sports.
The FIFA World Cup trophy should be more than enough motivation for the All-Stars to play exceptionally well this Saturday at Churchill Park in Lautoka. FBC commentator Raymond Stoddart says this will be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for many to play with the World Cup trophy present. Shelvin Chand has more.
For Fiji to win the Football World Cup is a long shot. So it goes without saying that having the trophy here for the first time is as close as anyone in Fiji could possibly get.
Here in Fiji, we never will ever get to lift the trophy, so to be precise, but certainly to get a touch of it and a feel of it would be a big thing for Fiji. And I think it is an honor for that trophy coming here to Fiji.
The All-Stars concept could also be a way to lift the level of competition to select the best for a national outfit.
It has been long in coming to the East versus West, and I think North should have been included, but I think it's a cost factor. But the concept is good, and to make the occasion much bigger, could have been bigger, but certainly we'll have to do with the off-season, the East versus West. It'll be an interesting game without bar players.
The commentator is hoping that the best players are chosen for the match.
Outside, you've got a good blend of Rewa and super players, and of course nodding in some Nabua players, whereas in the West they'll have to make do with the Lautoka players that are available, Nandi players who should make up most of the team. The Nandi players, they've been the informed side, and some from Nandronga should be considered.
The East versus West match will be part of the World Cup Trophy Tour. The trophy arrives into the country on Thursday. Shelvin Chand, FBC Sports.
That is your Monday night sports. It's back to Jackie now with business.
Local farmers have the potential to supply hotels and resorts as well as the local population. However, they must venture into some form of commercial farming to meet that potential. Akosita Tale reports the Agriculture Ministry has implemented initiatives to encourage farmers.
The tourism industry is willing to help local farmers and reduce the import bill by buying local produce. But if this does happen, farmers will have to step up and meet the demand for the tourism sector as well as the local population.
In the last few years, there's been about consistency of the product. I mean, I deal with it every day. You can't get the same quality of produce every day.
There would be nothing left of any produce in Nandi, Singatoka or Suva if all of us at Denarau, the islands, the Coral Coast had to go and buy from the local markets. There's not enough.
The Agriculture Ministry is sure there are enough farmers to supply both the local and export markets. However, they are trying to identify which produce can be accepted by hotels and which ones are for export.
Capsicum, cauliflower, celery, zucchini, these are the type of crops that we need to produce consistently for that specific market for the hotels.
The ministry is also looking to shift the production system from the Singatoka Valley to the highlands in Andarivatu and Andrau during the off-season.
Ministry of Agriculture is taking that issue seriously and is working toward organizing the farmers properly so that they can supply to it and fulfill what that market requires.
Waimbuta says the ministry should be able to meet hotel requirements if proper planning is done. Akosita Tale, FBC News.
Weather time now, and here's the weather girl, all refreshed after the weekend.
I'm sure we're all excited to kickstart the week, Jackie. Let's take a look at the map. Aside from cloudiness in the morning, we had beautiful weather right here in the capital. So much so that I had to remind myself it was Monday and I couldn't head down to the beach. Everyone else had a very sunny, clear day as well. Savu, however, had some cloudy periods during the day. Now that's a positive sign. Most of our temperatures were in the 30s today, which means that we probably won't need all those extra blankets tonight. Ours the highest on 33. Now let's see what's happening tomorrow. Judging from the chart, it seems we're heading from a mostly sunny Monday to a fairly cloudy and rainy Tuesday. The Savu Hills are where it's at this evening. I leave you with this stunning image. That's weather. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks so much for that, Genevieve. The headlines again. Fire destroys Singatoka Methodist Primary School. More and more young women dying from cervical cancer. And Consumer Council pushes for more skilled mediators. To the results of last week's poll question, and we asked, should the new Australian government engage with Fiji quickly? 81% of you said yes. To this week's question now, and we're asking, was Team Fiji's performance at the Pacific Mini Games satisfactory? Visit www.fbc.com.fj to take part. Remember to send us newsworthy pictures and videos. Email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj. That was your Monday night news. Join us again tomorrow at the same time. Until then, Modemanda.
Hope you're enjoying the music right now on Gold FM. Only the classic hits, especially if you're spending your time at home or around the office. I certainly hope you're taking it easy and enjoying the music coming your way. Well, I got a whole lot more to keep you moving and to keep you going right up until you reach knock-off time. I'm Kara. Join me every weekday from 2 to 7 on The Ride, only on Gold FM.